I'm working a signing this week for StarCast. Miro and I are going to be this Saturday from 1 to 4. So if anyone's in Nashville, come to the signing, then they can head to SummerSlam.
I will be down there. I'm getting to go out late Saturday. So that's going to be a really crazy weekend between, both companies. I know StarCast is more than one, but simplifying it, I'll just say both companies. But that's exciting, and you don't really have to travel very far.
I know. I'm so excited about that. I'm excited. It's going to be my first signing, actually first thing doing with Miro back since our on-screen divorce in 2019. So it's really exciting to be able to do this together. We have so much fun. So I'm excited to see the fans and the people. Yeah. And we're going to go to Ric Flair's last match on Sunday.
Are you going to stick around to watch it?
I mean, I think I'm going to. Why not? It's Ric Flair. He's a legend.
Absolutely.
He also wanted me to roast him. He called my husband and left a voicemail actually, and was like, I want Lana, your wife, to roast me. And it was funny because I told my dad about it, and my dad was like marking out like a crazy bird. He's like, Ric Flair wants you to roast him? He's like, yeah. So we'll see. Maybe on cjperry.com, I'll put the first roast for him.
Right. There you go. Something to look forward to. cjperry.com, part of Brand Army. You had a very successful launch, set a single day record with that. I think it was like almost $20,000 in a day, which is like crazy. What's it been like being able to connect with your fans? Like, I know, you left WWE, it was about a year ago, maybe a little bit longer, but this is another way to connect with fans and, sort of stay involved with wrestling despite the status change. What's that been like for you, navigating that?
Oh my God, it's been an amazing experience. I'm so grateful. So grateful because it's just a way to connect with all the people and the fans in such a more intimate way. On Instagram, they only will put out just only so many people are going to see your post. Same with Twitter, with all the algorithms and AIs and whatnot. So it's great to be able to post something and everyone gets to see it, and you get feedback from people. And I read all the DMs. I talk to people on there. I read all the comments. It's a big range of stuff that I post. I didn't want to post a lot of these things on Instagram. One, because, there is sexier stuff on there that I wouldn't put on Instagram. I wouldn't personally feel comfortable putting on Instagram because there is a lot of kids that follow me, and I want to be respectful of people, of the parents that, I have a ton of Muslim fans. I have a ton of Christian fans. I have a ton of Jewish fans that are religious, and I want to be respectful to them and their standards of what they want their children to see. And so, sorry, my puppy is eating stuff. I just got a new puppy. Oh my God, dogs everywhere right now. So that's like one thing. Also, there's a ton of stuff like behind the scenes from being on the road that I've never posted. And partly was because I would be in a story with these people, or we would be in a program with the guy or with the girl. I don't want to break kayfabe. I don't want to break that fourth wall. I wanted to commit to the character, to the storyline. So I always save so much of this content from tour, from being on the road, behind the scenes, fun stuff like us girls dancing in the locker room, or taking shots that I've just never released. So I have Throwback Thursday on there. I also put out matches that I've never put out before, practice matches with like so many different girls, like Toni Storm, Liv Morgan, Aaliyah, Nikki Cross, like so many great girls that no one's seen these great matches that we had. So I put them on there because they're just practice matches, and original content I put on there. I'm just about to shoot my first short that I'm directing. So I'm really excited about that. That's going on there. There's original web series launching, and it's just a way to connect, on Instagram and Twitter. You might post something and no one sees it because enough people didn't engage in it. And so then the algorithm isn't even showing it to like 2% of your following. So I didn't want to continue to give out things on that platform that they weren't favoring, and it kind of just go to waste, And so I was really excited when I found Brand Army, because it gave me that, it gave me like, okay, I can put out this content that I've been saving, that means a lot to me, that I've, also put time and money into doing. And then I don't get, basically screwed over, or is the nice way of putting it, from like an Instagram or a Twitter platform where they're just not pushing it to your, like my 4 million fans, or like, it's just crazy. I know so much about social media, and I could go on a long tangent about it, which I'll save for cjperry.com, or if anyone else has questions. But yeah, it's just such a great place to be able to connect with people. And I'm actually launching a Cameo. If you subscribe now, there's free cameos, and also a free 8x10 signing. So I'm a picture. So if you subscribe now, that's the sale that we're doing, because I want people to feel appreciative. I so appreciate the fans and the people, and I want to make sure that people get their $19.99 worth. And it is different than OnlyFans. I had that, my husband wasn't really okay with me doing that, and so Brand Army is great because I can still push the envelope with a lot of content, but at the same time he feels comfortable, and I can just connect with people. And that's the reason why I'm doing these extra things. Like if you subscribe now, you'll get a cameo. If you subscribe now, 8x10 signed picture. And because I want people to feel valued and feel like they're getting their money worth, as well as we're going to be launching merchandise soon too. So everything, all the first announcement, all the first tea, I do Tea Time Tuesday on there, which I, give a lot of my real opinion about wrestling and things that, yeah, I'm just not going to give out on Instagram Live. And so I will over there. So yeah, it's cool. It's really a great place to connect. I'm really thankful for it. It's been a huge blessing.
Yeah, that's, you just covered so much. One thing that stood out, and I think people have heard over the years, it's like, there's always a camera around at WWE. Like that's what we've heard. And that even if something doesn't air, there's a camera, but there's sometimes you hear months and years later, like, oh, I wish I saw that segment, or I wish I saw that match. Like, so now that you actually get the opportunity to do that, like one of them that came to mind was Mickie James and Chelsea Green just talked like last year about like, oh, we had this whole thing worked out, we've filmed like segments and the matches, and no one ever saw it. So it's like, at least you have control over your content, and you can put that out there, give, there's, like you said, there's an incentive, there's value to what you're doing, and really like content that you're not going to see anywhere else. So
yeah, for sure. And since my fan base, our fan base, I mean, your fan base too, is so wrestling, I always want to be able to respect that and make sure I give a lot of wrestling content as well. So if it's wrestling conversation, if it's like wrestling stories that I've never told from behind the scenes, and or how things happened, to actually like practice matches that we've had, or Natty's school. I went to Dungeon 2.0 with Natty and TJ. I went there for I guess almost 2 years, a year and a half. And I spent in 2020 and the beginning of 2021, it was like almost 200 days. I lived in a hotel room training with them. And so I was able to have all these great practice matches, because that was the thing with Natty and TJ's. They always wanted to make sure we had at least a 5-minute match, sometimes longer. And it was like with, the break spot, with the, times and everything. And Natty would always pretend like she was Vince McMahon or Kevin Dunn and like emulate it. And so it was great, because I have all this great footage that I so appreciate now, because I was looking forward to having matches with these girls, a lot of them, and I wasn't, but I have this. And it makes me happy, and I think they're great, and it's cool to share. Like I shared one of my matches with Liv, and the feedback was great. People loved it, and you could tell we have so much fun with it.
One of the posts that actually really resonated with me, this was a couple weeks after you were released. You really went right back to training and just talked about how you wanted to keep working at it. You felt like you were entering your prime, and, you obviously shared how you were staying there and traveling and, training while you were not at TV with the dungeon, but how, like, you've had time to reflect on your career now, being like outside of that WWE bubble. Like, how do you feel about just reflecting on your persona as Lana and as, both manager and in-ring talent? Like, how are you feeling about, all of that you did accomplish?
Mm. I have so many mixed emotions. I feel like I go through a lot of waves. Like I'll feel really good for a while. Like, oh, I'm good on this path right now. I'm good. And then sometimes I'll just have emotional breakdowns because I miss wrestling so much and I miss the fans. Ooh, I'm not going to get emotional now. And I think that for me, it was actually really interesting. And I can't wait till it comes out. Surreal Life. Boy, oh my God, because it was in July. So I had only been basically done with WWE, let go for 6 weeks. So I was still really going through it and just full on identity crisis and just missing it. And Dennis Rodman was on the show, and Surreal Life is supposed to come out at the end of the year. So, and boy, is the tea and drama wow over there. But the one thing, Dennis, he retired at 36, and he kept on telling me, hey, you got to retire, you got to evolve, you got to retire, you got to evolve. And I was getting so annoyed. I'm like, Dennis, you literally are 60 years old and you're still shooting the shoots. Okay. I don't know what, you're still freaking, you haven't retired. What, you've retired from basketball? Became even bigger afterwards, and I just think I was kind of being stubborn because what happened was the first event that we had living, because we had 9 activations, right? Mm-hmm. On each episode, you're basically going to have an activation that we do. And the first activation was we went to a wrestling ring in Mexico City. Okay. And everyone had to dress up and pick a character and, do promos. We were going to have a promo battle, and I had to half of these people don't even know anything about wrestling. I was trying to teach them, don't take it personal, just talk shit, And so actually I ended up managing Dennis Rodman and Frankie Muniz, and I did the whole Russian spiel, and I just his respect for me changed at that time immediately. He was like, wow, you're really, really, really good at what you do. You're incredible. And he was kind of giving me shit before, and when that happened, it was mad respect towards me changed, and I couldn't believe it. And he was like, you're really, really good at what you do. He's like, you should be doing that. You should be managing people. You shouldn't. He's like, sorry, and of course he always talked about Charlotte Flair because Ric Flair is his best friend. He's like, Charlotte Flair, she should be a wrestler. You retire and be a manager. And I was getting so hot, but then now looking at it, I'm like, no, I get it. He's like, be the best at what you can do. And as a professional wrestler, I would never be the best. It just wasn't going to happen. I didn't start young enough. Maybe I don't have the enough. I mean, I would say I'm pretty athletic. I didn't start at 18 years old. Sasha, Bailey, they all started really young. Paige. And at managing though, I want to come from Paul Heyman's throne. I know I can. And, WWE would put me in, they gave me these great opportunities, but they put me in this certain situation versus Hunter even gave me this incredible first opportunity with Miro where I was just the mouthpiece. And it's I know I can crush it. I know I can help people get over because God has given me the gift, the talk, the babble, to sell. I can sell anything, I can sell a toothbrush and convince everyone it's gold or love me or hate me in the process. And so it's I really started to see of no, I don't want to come back to wrestling and be mediocre. Yes, it's my dream. Of course I want to be champion. I love wrestling, but am I going to put my time and my energy and every precious minute that we have on this earth and be to something that I'm going to only be average, or I'm going to put all of it to something to becoming great? And that's my biggest take of the last year of being away. It's yes, I want to come back to wrestling. Yes, I want to do something. Absolutely. I love wrestling. I love the fans. There's nothing like it in the entire world, but I don't want to come back and be mediocre. I want to come back and make an impact and tell compelling stories and really come for Paul Heyman's throne and, solidify being the best manager of all time and the best talker.
So there is one point I do want to get to, but you mentioned in a I think it was on a Twitter post, Miss Elizabeth, Stephanie McMahon, Paul Heyman. So I wasn't sure at first, where the Heyman was, because, Miss Elizabeth, obviously she carried herself like in a certain way. She was considered royalty. I think you carried yourself that way too. And then Stephanie McMahon speaks with conviction and she's powerful. And then Heyman, is it really just, speaking with conviction on the mic and, commanding that presence? Anything else that really that you saw from him that inspired you?
Oh, yes, for sure. I mean, Paul Heyman he's so charismatic, of course, he can talk his ass off, but he's also a lot of times the brains behind the operation, and he, in my opinion, is really the huge success behind Roman and being his heel turn. And, he's a wordsmith. I was able to get my amazing contract of the last 2 years because Paul Heyman was the showrunner and he put me in this incredible story. Yeah, it was very controversial. It was very, people loved it and hated it, but the numbers didn't lie. And I was I'm so thankful for those last 2 years of that contract that I got. And I'm so forever grateful that Paul gave me that opportunity and gave me that time on the mic. And I'm so grateful for that. And so I just think that he is an incredible creative mind. He is a wordsmith. He's incredible at words. And he's always really inspired me with the way he is with words. And I've really just really dived into more studying verbiage, studying to become more of a wordsmith. And even in this past year, I feel like the writing that I'm doing, the studying I'm doing of becoming better at words, of being really training your brain, becoming more intelligent. And he's so smart. And so that was always really inspiring. And, I just think he's a lot of the brains and managing behind. And that's what I love. That's where I don't think people realize how much maneuvering I do, even from Miro, and how I am, like, Paul's a great salesman. And so that's inspiring to me because I know he can sell and convince people of anything. And I feel like I have that gift as well. And so what better way to use that gift? One, to hone that salesman's gift, to hone that promoter gift like Paul has, and not just use it for myself, but use it for other people. Mm-hmm. And use it for people that maybe that's not their first foot in the door. And even with Miro, I think he's one of the most incredible athletes. He was born to be a professional wrestler with his, size and his agility. And, but he doesn't really like the schmooze and talk and, be the politician, be the, salesman. And for me, that kind of just, I like it. I enjoy it. It's kind of just what I do. And I realized I used to take that for granted. And I realized, no, that's a gift. And we all have different gifts. And so find that gift and hone it. And that's really what I've been trying to do this last year, is like find these things that just naturally come to me and realize that's a gift. And now hone it to be the best.
You covered quite a bit there about as far as how you want to come back. I know it almost happened with WES. The original event, you were advertised for the lineup. Obviously that show didn't happen, but are you any closer to maybe coming back, whether it's as a manager, as an in-ring performer? Anything you do want to maybe share? I know you've been pretty vocal about saying you miss wrestling, but anything close to happening? Well,
subscribe to cjperry.com, where everyone will find out all the tea and any inside. But I was really excited about that match in the UK I was going to fight Naya for the championship, and I never won a championship. So I've helped other people win. But it's kind of like that goal and that dream, that I guess more of a dream that I never was able to achieve. And, that was really disappointing. I think that really hit me hard, to be honest. Because because I felt like it was all in vain. Like I felt like, no matter how hard I worked, I couldn't, achieve that. And I'm like, this is professional wrestling. Who cares? Let me have bodyguards and let me cheat, like, let me be Russian and pay everyone off the win, but then I just had to like take a step away, and I was watching some basketball movies, documentaries, and realized, there's a lot of iconic basketball players, iconic athletes in every sport that are going to be Hall of Famers, yet they haven't won a championship ring. And that's just reality, like not everyone's going to get that gold. Not every incredible Olympic athlete is going to become a gold medalist. And when I put it in that perspective, because beforehand I was like, no, it's professional wrestling. We should all be able to get that opportunity, but it's predetermined. But the reality is, if we take it from a sports perspective, not everyone gets that opportunity. Not everyone gets that win. And just like not all actors become Leonardo DiCaprio and Meryl Streeps. And it was a little bit easier for me to accept that, because I felt like I was a failure almost, and realizing, no, like maybe that's not just in my cards. And so, yeah, I'm absolutely open to wrestling. I'm absolutely open to returning as a manager, but with actually having a match, I really want it to be like story driven. If it is something like with Nia and we're going after the championship, like that makes sense, because I've never been a champion. So I'm willing to, put my body on the line for it. But at the same time, I really think my strength is talking and helping drive other people's stories, of being the mouthpiece. And I want to come back, and I want to solidify being an icon and a legend. I don't want to just come back and do mediocre stuff. No, I don't need to. And I don't want to. I want to come back only if I can do great stuff. And I don't put it in a box if it's like having a wrestling match or managing. No, I love it all and I'm willing to do it all, but the story has to be there, because people connect with stories. I love professional wrestling because of the stories, the stories that are resolved in the ring. It's awesome having dream matches. It's great. But me personally, I connect those to the things that are story driven. And even if it's the soap opera where it resolves in the ring, that's why I fell in love with professional wrestling. I'm a professional dancer. I'm an actor. I'm a storyteller. And I believe that if you tell the right story, there's nothing like professional wrestling, because it's the only place that we then beat each other up to resolve our conflict. I think that's freaking rad as fuck.
Well, I appreciate the conviction. And obviously, if people watch when Miro's on AEW TV, there's still a demand there when he pays tribute to you. People still talk about, oh, when's she coming back? Every time he mentions, his God, his gold, his hot wife. So we'll have to wait and see when that happens. But I mean, if I can kind of put you on the spot and ask you to narrow it down, is there a match, whether it was you as a competitor or whether it was you as a manager, any come to mind that really hold special meaning? Or maybe one that just really you feel like you got to show a complete competitor or manager? Anything come to mind like that?
I really like there's so many stuff that I like. I mean, all of Miro's matches, I think he's so iconic. I think he's incredible. I really miss that, to be honest. I really miss being ringside with him. He's so good. He's so good. And I was able to watch so many incredible matches, like at live events, just right front row, if it's him fighting Dolph, fighting Cesaro, fighting John Cena, Roman Reigns, Kevin Owens. I mean, there's so many incredible matches that people haven't seen that he had on live events that were just truly iconic, that the fans were behind. So I definitely miss that. There's nothing like two big men fighting who are really athletic. I just get really excited, like him, like Roman Reigns and him had so many great matches because of there's these two athletic guys, huge and athletic, and it's just the ring moves. It's just incredible. So that was great. But I think that for me, when I was fighting Nia, it really, I feel like there was a part of me that proved myself to the wrestling world. I was always considered like the model girl or the actress, and yeah, I am an actress. So thank you. But I was kind of always put in that category of like, oh, she's fragile or she's like dainty. And I kind of would always get offended because it's like, look, I remember one time people were like, we just don't know if you're like durable or tenacious. Like this was many years ago when I first started. And I'm like, okay, you clearly don't know me, but alrighty. And so I feel like I was able to prove that because it's like, no, Nia Jax is one of the toughest women out there. I always call her the Samoan dragon. And the fact that I was taking two power bombs and where she like lifted up even higher and like all these other big bumps and, going through tables, 9 tables in a row, commentary tables. I mean, TJ was telling me he's never even gone through a commentary table. And most people don't go through 9 tables in a row, and to be able to like, no, I'm still here and I'll do it again. Like, I'll fight you. I'll go out there. I feel like I proved myself to the wrestling world and also earned a lot of people's respect, like earned the women's respect, earned the guys' respect, earned the fans' respect. And, that I would do it all over again. Like for real, that was 1000% worth it, and that's all I really wanted was the respect from my peers and respect from the fans. Oh, I get emotional talking about it. I loved wrestling. I love wrestling so much. And I always wanted to give all the people, all the other wrestlers out there that want to work at, want to get a job at WWE or AEW. And I never took for granted that I was working for WWE and living a lot of other people's dreams. Like the least I could do was to work my ass off and give respect back to this business that so many people want to be a part of. And so I think because I was hired, got brought up quickly. I was from Hollywood. People didn't really realize like my tenacity and my work ethic. And so it took me a while to earn the respect from people in that way. And it really, really meant a lot when I did earn their respect. And like I said, I would do it all over again.
Yeah. Whoever said that we don't know if she's durable, I think you certainly proved that tenfold with that. That was like you said, going through commentary tables. CJPerry.com. I know you mentioned the Surreal Life. I'm looking forward to that. I was a fan of the original show. Too many moments to name. I know, Vanilla Ice had his own moments. Vern Troyer had some stuff on there. Anything else you can maybe talk about what's to come on that show or anything else you have in the works?
Oh gosh. Well, Wife Like, a movie that I am in with Jonathan Rhys-Meyers, comes out August 12th. It's going to be on demand, Paramount Plus, theatrical release as well. And Surreal Life, God, there's so much stuff. Like it was by far the most insane thing I've ever done in my life. And the 13 days that I lived in that house seemed like 13 months. It was crazy. They took our phones as well. So that was slightly traumatic. Classic millennial. I'm like, wow. Wow. But made it through. And it's going to be on MTV and it's going to be on Paramount Plus. They haven't released the date yet, but they're saying the fall, end of the year.
Okay. All right. Yeah. And I watched the trailer for Wife Like. It's haunting. That's the word that comes to mind. If anybody's seen the trailer or wants to check it out, just go on YouTube. It's seems like quite the interesting story, especially when you think about how technology is moving. It's very very Black Mirror-ish, I guess.
Yes. Oh my God, it's so crazy. And it's basically about Wife Like is creating AIs to be the perfect woman. So it really is really crazy. And knowing how with all the artificial intelligence and robots and cars driving themselves and people wanting trucks to drive themselves, it's like, oh, this is all a possibility in the future. So, I love science and I love that we keep on advancing ourselves. We should, but I do think it's important to be thinking about how can we set some parameters so we don't end up in a wife-like situation.
Yeah, I still am very cautious about that. I'm a late adapter to everything. So
Probably smart, to be honest.
yeah, go check out Wife Like when it comes out, cjperry.com, and maybe we'll see some updates as far as your in-ring, your managerial career, and then Surreal Life this fall. Thank you very much for taking the time today. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.